you guys are against what's happening to the Palestinians. You're against what's happening in Gaza, right? But then all of a sudden, when things are happening to other Africans in your own country, in your own backyard,
that's where you draw the line.
That's where you draw the line.
Yeah.
Is it fair to lay down on Bafana Bafana? Because traditionally, Africans have always supported other African countries in the World Cup without asking any questions.
The person that has actually been that we have seen on social media and in media really fighting against it is Julius Malema.
Yes.
He has been vocal about it.
He's been very consistent.
He's been very consistent about it, irrespective of what Ghana did, chasing people away, or what other African countries are doing. He's the one who has been very consistent in saying that this is not right.
I think maybe a good point to start is from the opening match, because the opening match went down yesterday. South Africa versus Mexico. And there was a lot of... there was a lot of controversy surrounding, where Africans were supporting. Initially, to me, it started like slowly on social media where people were saying...
It was like a joke.
Yeah, it was like a joke. But I think when the game was about to begin, I realized this thing is very serious. In the stadium in Mexico, there were Nigerians there. Nigeria is not even in the World Cup. But there were Nigerians in Mexico who are there in Mexican jerseys. Supporting...
And you know why, of course.
Yeah, supporting Mexico.
Yes.
Which begs the question, and one of the main reasons, most Africans are not supporting South Africa, Bafana Bafana in this World Cup, is because of the xenophobia situation that has been taking root right now in South Africa. So the question is it fair to lay down on Bafana Bafana? Because traditionally, Africans have always supported other African countries in the World Cup without asking any questions. So maybe acha nianze nawe Uno Mike.
Yes.
Is it a fair thing to lay down on Bafana Bafana? Because these are just soccer players, walikuwa wana train na nini, wao hawajuani na kina sijui Jacinta, na kina Fakela, na sijui kina Fikile, na sijui kina nani, all those guys who are organizing this protests in South Africa and attacking other Africans. Is it fair? What's happening?
It's not fair. Because, again, like Mika said, this is not supposed to be political. It's about the love of the game, people coming together as one, enjoying, and you support your team. But the mere fact that this has happened because of the xenophobia, now the players are being put in a position to either comment or comment. They are sort of, it's the whole team that has to either come up with something to say. Like, are they going to come out and say that we are against it? They're put in a very, very dicey situation.
Yes.
If you remember, the Springboks during I think
Apartheid.
The Springboks, the rugby team, and Mika can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's a time where there was a situation where if I recall, I think there was something happened, and one of the players, Mpimpi, I may have gotten his name wrong, during the Rugby World Cup, commented and said something, and that put the team in a position to come out and say and address the issue, because it was a political. It's not the equivalent, but you remember the 68 Olympics,
yes,
where the guys raised their fists and said something.
I think that was 72. Munich.
72, right?
Yeah.
Where the guys, the two black guys won,
72,
and then
yeah, I can't remember. It was
the 800, the Americans, they raised their fists in solidarity with what was going on, which was technically a statement. So what this guy did was, I'm not saying it was the same, but it was something similar. Now, where the rugby team had to say something, either you come together and address the matter as a team, because you're representing South Africa. Yes. So this one, I think it's a bit rough and hard, because prior to this happening, there was an opportunity. The only person that has actually been that we have seen on social media and in media really fighting against it is Julius Malema.
Yes.
He has been vocal about it.
He's been very consistent.
He's
over
been very
many
consistent
years.
about it, irrespective of what Ghana did, chasing people away, or what other African countries are doing. He's the one who has been very consistent in saying that this is not right.
Yeah.
Now, with these other players, chances are they probably are not political in any way,
Yeah.
or they just want to play,
Yes.
right? And I think majority of the team is from one of the clubs in South Africa, and I can't remember exactly.
Orlando Pirates, ama.
In South Africa, I don't know I don't know the team, but
Mamelodi Sundowns.
Or Mamelodi Sundowns.
yes,
Yeah.
that is where most of the guys are from. Now we don't know what their political stance is, which they shouldn't be, but they are being forced to come out. They may be forced to come out. This is more or less telling them, you guys have to address this situation, because South Africans chasing out
Other Africans.
other Africans is not right.
Yeah.
Especially the ones who live next to them. Are the people who
Yes.
are mostly affected.
Zimbabweans, those ones around the surrounding
Zimbabwe, Mozambique.
those
Yeah.
ones, and you have to say something. You have to. It's like sometimes you just have to say something, because it is crucial. You remember the time for Akina Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali,
Yeah.
Bill Russell. Like, it's like what to say.
So like, before we get to Omosh Fire and then back to Mika on this, I think, and of course we've been trying to get a South African here in the studio, and it's not been easy, because like, whatever is happening there, of course we're relying on media.
Yes.
Because from what I'm seeing, like, we're seeing one thing, and we're seeing people being attacked, being kicked out of the country, but a lot of South Africans who are talking about this, I feel like now even outside the Bafana Bafana, like South African celebrities, or famous South African people, like, for example, like Vusi Thembekwayo, who's like a business, an internationally renowned entrepreneur, and he's also a motivational speaker. I feel he's someone who's normally very decisive in the things that he says. I feel when he addressed this issue, it was not properly addressed, because I kind of feel like the people who are against this in South Africa, they are kind of afraid to speak against it, because they're also afraid of being thrown under the bus. They're afraid of retaliation.
Yes.
So they will
Or
say,
being cancelled.
Yeah, they're saying South Africa is not xenophobic, and which may be true, because we're relying on media, but we are seeing things happening.
What is happening
We are
versus
seeing
what
things
they're
happening.
saying is not adding up.
So what they're saying is that it's a small crowd of people who are pushing this, but the other problem is that you're seeing police officers watch these people as they attack, like other Africans. You're seeing it's, and what that message sends is kind of like, even the government is in support of what's happening, because police is not stopping it. Kids are being pulled out of school. People are being pulled out of their homes.
Yes.
Businesses are being looted, and they're being, like, taken over. So it's one of those things where I would say the moral majority has not been able to articulate themselves, because right now South Africans have a reputation that is not so good across the African continent.
And the irony about that, before Mika jumps in, the irony about that is these guys are the guys who at one point in time were you could say they were a representative of what it is to do right, in terms of, like, now when no one else was filing papers against Israel,
Yes, they did.
right?
Yes.
They are the ones who are doing,
They're
and
the
Packers
ones
were
who
like,
are-
you know what,
yes.
we want to support, we are behind these guys because
Yes.
we trust and believe, and they are
Yes.
the only country
Yes.
that has come out vocally, in fact,
Yeah.
filed. And you're like, okay, you guys are against what's happening to the Palestinians. You're against what's happening in Gaza, right? But then all of a sudden, when things are happening to other Africans, in your
own country.
in your own backyard,
That's where you draw the line.
that's where you draw the line.
Yeah.
Bro. So that for me is like, okay, come on.
Another important thing to note, because the tribalism within South Africa has come to the surface. These protests are mostly in a province called KZN, KwaZulu Natal, in Durban, and there's a lot of other South Africans you're seeing from other communities outside of KZN who are really talking against this. But now it has filtered onto their soccer team, and a lot of people, unajua vile Africans, sometimes people are superstitious. People were saying it's the power of the ancestors that that made the South Africans lose the game yesterday.